One man is in critical condition after being shot in the neck and head. And this morning, police are saying it happened as he was trying to sell a gun.
The weather tonight should be much better than it has been for most of the country. I'm Inez De La Cuetara, and I'll have all the details coming up.
And as we speak, hundreds, possibly thousands of angry protesters are attempting to storm the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Comes a day after deadly airstrikes in both Iraq and Syria.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, it is the morning of New Year's Eve, the last day of 2019, 37 degrees to start your day off.
Live from KSAT12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And here we are. It is the end of the year. Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 31st. Stephanie joined us this morning. How are you?
Good morning.
A little under the weather. I know the allergies are just kicking a lot of people's tails this week.
I have my, my tissues ready, but I think I'm not the only one.
You are not. It is the season for those mountain cedar allergies, and they are taking charge lately. Let's get an update on the forecast. So we're going to check on traffic with Officer Marcus Trio. But Justin, how are we looking temperature-wise on this early New Year's Eve?
It's cold, and by the way, we're going to get that mountain cedar count in here in about an hour. Fingers crossed that number goes down today. We can only hope, right? It has been bad this week. 25 right now in Comfort, 28 Bernie Stage, 29 Bulverde, 32 at Randolph, and 32 at Port SA. So there are some spots down in San Antonio down to freezing. We shouldn't be there for too long, but I wouldn't be surprised even at the airport if we get down fairly close this morning. We'll rebound again this afternoon, 59, close to 60 for high. The reason it's a little bit cooler today, we are going to see an increase in cloud cover. So clouds will really kick in, I think, during the afternoon. And as we ring in the new year tonight, it goes cloudy. 57 noontime, 59 by 4 o'clock, cloudy skies, and then cloudy for New Year's Eve celebrations, 50 degrees. We'll be at 45 tomorrow morning. Chances of rain kick in. Showers. Light showers through your day on Wednesday. It's sort of cloudy and damp and cool with some clearing by the weekend. We're going to detail that whole forecast for you here in just a few minutes. But let's go over to Marcus because things have been a little crazy this morning for considering there shouldn't be that much traffic.
They have, and we've have been handling one major accident after the other. So we have two that are still in the clearing stages. One of them is on Culebra Road, right there between 27th and 28th Street. So it's going to be on the eastbound main lanes of Culebra Road, coming back in towards the downtown area from 410. So we have a number of officers out handling that major accident, and then this fatal accident, northbound main lanes of 410. We're seeing traffic back up beyond Marbach at this point, as we see everything down to just one lane on those northbound main lanes of 410. Now, I-10 and Frio so far there, no problems. But if you're northbound main lane, northbound on 410, as you're approaching Marbach, you will start to see that slow down. So if you can, avoid that area. Marcus, Stephanie.
Thank you, Marcus. New this morning, one man's in the hospital after being shot in the neck and head over on the southwest side. San Antonio police say it happened just after 1 this morning when the man was apparently trying to sell a small gun in the 800 block of East Thompson. That's near South Zarzamora on Highway 90. They say 3 other people drove off in a gold sedan, and police are still looking for them. The man who was shot was taken to Brooke Army Medical Center and is in critical condition.
Meanwhile, on the northeast side, police are searching for an armed robber. Officers tell us it happened at a Circle K in the 2400 block of Austin Highway, which is near the intersection of Perrin Vital. Now, it happened just before 11 last night. They say a man wearing a gray hoodie and khakis used a gun to hold up the clerk in the store before running away.
6:04 right now. For a 5th year in a row, executions in the Lone Star State are down following a national trend. There were 9 executions in Texas this year compared to 13 in 2018.
And the imposition of the death penalty by juries has also dropped. Our Paul Veneva takes a look.
I think we're evolving as a society, straying away from barbarism.
Attorney Warren Wolf, an outspoken opponent of the death penalty, is encouraged by the numbers released this month by the Texas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty. They show that Texas has executed 4 fewer people this year than last year. Wolf feels that those numbers reflect a growing trend among jurors.
I don't think they see erasing a human life in exchange for another one as as the solution.
You'll get the opposite spin from Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez. He has announced that his office will seek the death penalty for Otis McCain. He's scheduled to be tried next month, accused of the execution-style slaying of veteran San Antonio police officer Ben Marconi. Gonzalez stands by his position on the death penalty.
I believe that the death penalty should be reserved for the worst of the worst.
Gonzalez points out that juries do have the option of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
The fact that he takes or she takes her last breath in prison and will no longer be among us may be enough.
Wolf agrees and suggests that may be a factor in the number of executions trending downward.
People see that and they're not as willing to execute, to vote to kill somebody.
Not as willing, perhaps, but it's still an option that, in spite of growing opposition, a jury still has. For Good Morning San Antonio, I'm Paul Venema.
We have breaking news happening right now. Developing story out of Baghdad, Iraq. Hundreds of protesters are trying to storm the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. It's been happening all morning. It comes a day after U.S. airstrikes killed at least 25 Shiite militia fighters in both Iraq and Syria. Now, an Associated Press reporter at the scene says flames were seen inside the American compound and soldiers were on the roof. Reuters is reporting that the U.S. ambassador has been evacuated from the embassy compound. This is still a developing story. Look for more in our later newscasts online at KSAT12 and coming up at 7 on Good Morning America.
And 11 years after its opening, the museum closes its doors today. That museum had focused on modern history as told through the eyes of journalists. But it struggled financially and had a tough time competing with free institutions in Washington, D.C. The building has been sold to Johns Hopkins University.
Around the world, preparations are underway for New Year's Eve celebrations to ring in 2020. Police ramping up security from New York to Chicago as many parts of the nation are cleaning up damage caused by major winter storms. Here's ABC's Ines De La Cuetara.
As millions prepare to celebrate the start of a new decade, a major winter storm threatening the fun across more than a dozen states. In recent days, shutting down highways, causing hundreds of accidents and taking at least 2 lives. Drivers needing a tow in Humboldt, South Dakota, black ice triggering an accident in Iowa, and freezing rain from upstate New York to New England, making for slick driving for much of the I-95 corridor.
It's water, snow, ice, roads are very slick, very hard to manage.
But the weather now looking better for tonight's celebrations.
Everywhere except the Pacific Northwest looking okay to ring in the new year with.
This as security preps around the nation kick into high gear in the wake of a deadly and violent weekend in Chicago with at least 5 people killed and more than 20 others hurt in multiple shooting incidents. Police are deploying an additional 1,300 officers across the city. They will also be on the lookout for drunk drivers.
On the New Year's Day holiday, 40% of individuals who were killed died in crashes where at least one driver was under the influence of alcohol.
In New York, police rolling out every kind of security for the Times Square ball drop.
We'll have intelligence officers out there, as well as patrol officers, emergency service units, and then as well with our federal and state local partners.
The NYPD will be working in conjunction with the FBI and Homeland Security. And this year, for the first time, drones will also be used for surveillance purposes.
The most well-policed, protected event that'll be on Earth.
The festivities in Times Square will begin just after 11 p.m. Eastern, but people will start to line up this morning at 11 a.m., so more than 13 hours before the ball drops. Ines De La Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
And if I remember hearing right, I think Ryan Seacrest and Company began their coverage at 7 o'clock San Antonio time this evening.
Yes.
Primetime festivities.
I was going to say a lot of security there, though.
Tons. 6:09, 37 degrees on New Year's Eve.